students are gone, but you are still here. And we know how you feel because you are done. But you have so much work to do to get ready for tomorrow. Good afternoon, podcast listeners everywhere. Welcome to After the Bell, a Stunt Brothers production. A podcast that gets inside the life of a teacher and provides a wellness guide for being prepared to take on this most challenging of professions. I'm Martin Stuvel.
And I'm Roy Hunt. And we share your pain, having taught a combined 70 years. The guarantee of this podcast is to make you laugh, make you think, and give you at least one little nugget that you can use in the classroom. So get out your marking, organize your supplies, or just pour yourself a coffee.
I want something stronger.
And listen, engage, and interact with After the Bell, a podcast for you, the hard-working, dedicated teacher who wants free lesson plans, free advice, and a free meal.
Okay, Roy, but I'm not paying for anything more than McDonald's.
Well, Martin, here we are, Chapter 13.
Chapter 13.
Episode 13.
What were you thinking of?
I don't know. I've been reading a number of financial magazines.
Going bankrupt?
Going bankrupt, looking at other people's bankruptcies, yes.
I didn't tell you about all the investments I made for this podcast. They're not doing so well.
Okay.
So here we are, back in the box and ready for episode 13, and I hope it's Lucky 13.
Lucky 13.
Yes.
Now, I hear that you're helping to move us forward by going into some TikTok videos.
I am. I've got the Stunt Brothers out there doing a few things, and it seems to be the way to get the word out. So that is the one social media platform I had not used in the past. So I am going on board for TikTok.
And you're bringing me along?
Yes. Yes.
Reluctantly?
Share them. Exactly. But you also find you go on there and you get this new lingo and these new buzzwords that you don't always know what it means because it's more the younger generation's words, right? Not some of our buzzwords from the
some
past.
Of the words that we've used before,
like,
yeah.
chuggy.
Oh.
Chuggy. Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing, right?
Yes, chuggy. I've learned about this word the hard
Really?
way.
Oh, okay.
My daughter's explained that chuggy means uncool.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Not such a positive.
Not such a positive thing. And
Okay.
I like I said, I've learned it the hard way because I've been called chuggy before.
Well, it's nice having daughters to keep it current, right?
Yes, yes.
But it made me start to think about buzzwords and how they change over the years, right? And the meaning changes. And there's buzzwords and even acronyms, for example, that we've had and used that now no longer mean the same thing.
Or don't have the same meaning now.
Like, can you think of some from our past?
Yeah, well, I can remember being in high school and telling someone to eat my shorts.
Oh, and that might still be going because of Bart Simpson somehow still going 35 years later,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Things like, hey, far out man, right? That's a good one, old one from the past.
Yeah. The teacher gave me the hairy eyeball.
Oh, gosh. No one would know what that means now. Now my wife will cringe, but my favorite saying, it's a really old saying, it probably goes back to the 30s, is, how do you like them apples? Now she's just cringing again as she listens, hopefully, to this podcast.
Take a chill pill.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
And sometimes it also, I find, shows up in some of the texting now. Some of the letters that you kind of don't know what it stands for. LOL, okay, I figured that out, laughing out loud.
Well, I get TBH.
What is that? The big hunt?
That's what I thought it was.
Okay, no. Well, to be honest, it means something else.
Okay.
But these buzzwords change over time.
Yes, they do.
Right? And that's the thing. And it's kind of like education. The buzzwords of education have changed, and we've seen that in our 30-plus years teaching. The acronyms change over time. And sometimes you think it's something brand new. But is it?
It seems to be something that's been repackaged.
Yes.
And when you open up the package and look at the ingredients, you can see some of those ingredients are familiar to you because
what's new
you've
may
used
be
them before.
Yeah, what's new may be old again, right? And what's old is new again. It's kind of that way of repackaging it so somebody has something new to sell. But it's hard in education because we do sometimes feel whiplash when we go from this program to that program, and everyone thinks they have to change, but it's not always a brand new thing.
I think we have our theme for
I
today.
think we have our theme.
Yes.
Our theme is buzzwords and acronyms. I think nice to explore those. And, does it mean you have to change with the buzzwords and acronyms, right?
Yes.
So buzzwords and acronyms. There's our theme.
That's the theme.
There's that sound.
Yes, that's the sound of the nugget. The nugget is a takeaway, something that you can use in your personal life or in the classroom that will help you to navigate through teaching.
Yeah, and it's as we said many times, it's very challenging. And we've been talking about this idea of change and how things change, whether it's buzzwords. But in education, there's been probably, as you said, more change than ever, especially the last 10 years. And the problem is, if you change with everything, you're going to get whiplash. There's so much change, right?
Yes.
And when I've looked at it in the past, I've embraced many things. I'm glad we've changed some things. Some of our practices needed to change.
Yes. You get in the same pattern of doing the same thing over and over again, and then it's expected that you continue in that way. But someone would say that that's not necessarily a good thing because you're not growing. You're just continuing a path forward out of redundancy.
Yeah. I mean, look how we've changed it with inclusion, with LGBTQ and those kind of areas, right? We have embraced change and we've adapted. But sometimes programs do come in that you realize it actually isn't a big deal. It's not – everyone's freaking out, right? Getting kind of worried.
Yes.
And they realize, oh, we've done this before, but it has a new name.
Right. I mean, we've gone through report card changes in our careers, I'm going to say 4 times now.
Yeah. And some of them have been quite dramatic, but at the end of the day, most of them, it's just still a report card.
It's still a report card.
Whether you do a letter grade or performance standards or whatever you want to call it, it's still a report card.
And it's still about finding something to share about how your students are doing in the classroom. It's about having something that can be discussed with parents and with the student to see how they are moving forward.
Yeah.
So it's just a different format.
It is. And, even things like one time, it would just be these are the handouts for the lesson when I first started teaching. Then it became these are the graphic organizers, right? There's often things that and so you hear, we got to use graphic organizers now? Oh, no. And then you realize, it's just my handouts that I made photocopies of, right? But we hear those words and it does set some people kind of to freak out, right?
Yes, and I think that should be the nugget.
I think there you go. When I jokingly say freak out, but I think our nugget is don't freak out. And we're not saying don't change, and we're not also saying change with everything, right? You have to be open to new ideas and not stuck in your ways, but take time. Don't freak out and say, okay, what is this change? Oh, is this just a report card, or is this just a new way of scaffolding that they're doing, that they're teaching me to do this lesson that I already do? I just use a different term for it.
Yes, and by accepting the change, then you're actually moving forward in what's called a growth mindset. And in that growth mindset, you're facing change, and the more you're able to face that change, actually, the easier it can become.
Yeah,
and as teachers. Having change come easier to you is important because there's an awful lot of change that's going to happen from whatever point you are in at your career. It'll continue.
Because change is inevitable, right?
Yes.
You got to kind of get that to your heart and realize change will happen. That's the one certainty in life, right? It's how we deal with it that kind of makes it good or bad. I mean, COVID was very difficult.
The change during COVID.
How fast that was and the change.
When we were down in our basements and having to use technology that wasn't very reliable, talking to our students who didn't all have access to technology, and our students weren't very reliable, and we were to move forward somehow in that process.
Yeah. And people did.
And yes,
they did. It's amazing, right?
And I think a lot of people were happy as teachers to get back into the classroom because teaching is very dynamic and it's very visual, and the proximity to your students and that excitement that you can build in delivering a topic or a curriculum that can't be transferred over the internet.
No, and another area I think about here in British Columbia, and it was a massive change, was the entire curriculum changed. And there was a lot of freak out of that, right? Because I've never, until that moment, had everything change in every subject. It was more inquiry-based, and that was kind of the focus. And then people, though, realized, actually, I do inquiry-based. I teach this way. Mm-hmm. It's not, our teaching practice kind of led the change. It wasn't that the government was now saying, you must do it this way. People were going, that's how I teach. And people adapted, and we had time, and it wasn't necessarily a complete 180-degree change, right? Change will happen, but look at it carefully. Whenever there's a new program out there, I think you should look at what you have and what you do and what your practices are. And often you'll find comfort in that you already do those things.
Yes, that's being confident and listening to yourself.
Yes.
So, oh my gosh, I've already do some of this.
Yeah.
Or this is something that I've done before.
Yeah.
So I think building, again, that's that growth mindset. I do this. I do some of this already. Change is inevitable.
Mm-hmm,
And because it's inevitable, being able to adapt to it. Teachers have an amazing skill set.
They do.
And I think we oftentimes underestimate our ability to be able to weather that change because it seems like we don't have enough time or this is just something else.
Yeah.
But I think looking at our resources, the resources are the things that we have accumulated over the years. I call it a toolkit, the things that you've collected along the years. Other resources, wow, staff. You know, when you're looking at your staff and helping you to navigate through that change, it's amazing. All
Work
of a sudden,
together on it.
You find two or three people who are like-minded and they say, yeah, let's do this together.
Yeah.
Sometimes, many hands make
light work. Right, absolutely.
And I think that's the idea. And not having to navigate that change by yourself. In that discussion we had before about building community.
And you're not alone, right, as well,
alone.
right? All those things come into play here.
Full circle, doesn't
it? Really does.
It comes back to those things we talked about.
Does.
Building community. You're not alone. And having a growth mindset. We're just using all these words, but really it's assessing the skills that we have to give us the confidence to move forward.
Yeah, and I think it's almost bringing these two what sound like polar opposites, which is don't jump on the bandwagon, but change is inevitable, right? So it's somehow blending those two together, that you don't need to jump on the bandwagon and totally switch your program, but you also have to accept that change is inevitable. Because if you don't, this job will be really hard.
Yes.
There's always someone in the ministry or somewhere else who has a new idea to do something with a new name that's actually the way you've done it for a long time.
Yeah. Don't stress out about stressing out.
Right, exactly. So our nugget is don't
freak out. You freak, say she. Freak out. Oh, freak out. You freak, say she. Freak out.
What's that sound?
What's that sound? And there's the sound of the homework board.
The homework board. I love the homework board.
I know you do. You know what? I got something though.
What?
A little extra homework this time.
You have homework?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Yeah, I do. It's a pop quiz.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to study for it, so that's why it's a pop quiz?
Exactly. You know, you just do the best you can, and if you fail, you're kicked out of my class. No pressure. No pressure.
No pressure at all.
And it's going to be on our website, stuntbrothers.ca.
Okay.
In the homework board, there's going to be a quiz, and it's
Pop
just
quiz.
going to be some acronyms from the past to do with education, and you have to guess and figure out what it stands for.
What it stands for.
Right? It'll be
But-
just
and
3 or 4
don't
letters.
reach your device.
No.
Don't use your device.
You just guess.
see what you can remember.
Exactly. So
Yes.
that's my little pop quiz. So everyone check that out on stuntbrothers.ca under the homework board. But we've been talking about our nugget here,
Yes.
which is kind of this idea that change is inevitable. Don't freak out about the change. Is there a way we can put it in a sense that people will really get it before we actually give the second part of our
The second
homework?
part of the homework. I think the biggest thing is we should accept the past and take steps forward towards the future. And even though that we we're never free from change. The idea is that we're always free to decide how we respond to change.
Yeah. Own it in the end of the
Own
day,
it,
right? And
yes, own it.
take that control of it. Don't let the change control you, because then that is exhausting. And it's certainly not good for your mental health, right?
So for extra homework,
Okay.
I
Wow.
would like our listeners to write about a time when they faced change and share how they navigated through it.
Okay.
And we would like stories of, obviously we'd like success stories, but also you could share stories about coming close to success or frustrations, because, you want to look at both sides of the coin.
Yeah. And I'm guessing a lot of people are going to realize they actually deal with change okay. It'll be a little pat on their back. They'll realize, actually, you know what? I don't freak out. I often don't like change, but when I think back, I deal with it okay.
Yes.
That's what we hope people will discover.
And I know people will discover that.
There we go. Excellent.
And that's the sound of the detention hall.
Oh, what's that?
The detention hall is where we put an idea, a concept, or a person in the detention hall for doing something that we have a problem with.
Yeah, and the Stunt Brothers give you a little bit of a new education on it and a little teaching and say, you know what? You need a little time
That's
out.
a teachable moment.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, I've been thinking about this episode and how we've been talking about change, and we've talked about how you don't need to jump on the bandwagon, but we've emphasized that change is inevitable. But I think in the detention hall, we need to recognize that change does present anxiety for people.
For a lot for some people,
Yeah,
yes.
and don't you feel that mental health often suffers when people have change that happens and they don't quite understand it, or they think it is something new, and it's a hard time for people.
Yes, and they're trying to figure out how to navigate through the change and navigate through their feelings. Is this a problem, or is it more than a feeling? But then there's someone there who's saying, suck it up.
Yeah, just get over it,
Get
right?
over it.
Well, if they could, they would,
Yes.
right? So we are thinking about the detention hall and putting in the person who would just say those things and not recognize the anxiety that the change is presenting in the teachers in front of them or the staff with them. And they should acknowledge that and help them navigate it, help them see that actually, you know what? This change looks like it's something new. It's the same as before. It's just a little few changes here.
Right.
Or I'm going to give you some extra time, support time, so you have time to focus on it away from your classroom.
What we're asking them to do is present some practical advice that will help the teacher or the person to move forward, or help them to figure out what to do next.
Yeah. So good leadership is to recognize that and recognize that anxiety and go, okay, how do I help my staff navigate this change?
right.
And those that don't do that and are oblivious to the anxiety, they're going in the detention hall.
Yes.
Agreed.
We'll put them in the detention hall.
There you go.
Agreed.
There's the sound of rear view mirror.
Yes, and the rear view mirror is we take the time to look at something from the past.
And we look in our mirror and see where we came from, because sometimes you need to know that. And
Yes.
it helps you go forward when you know where you came from.
So because we've been talking about change, I thought it would be great for us to look at how words have changed over the years.
Oh, let's have fun with that. That's good.
Yeah. So my first word is egregious.
Okay.
And egregious used to mean distinguished or eminent. Now it means someone who is conspicuously bad.
Okay. Well, I got the word bully, and we all know that word, especially in the education world. We don't like bullies, and
That's right.
we don't like the bully in the White House right now. Anyway, I won't get into that.
Don't go there.
Okay.
Okay.
But the original meaning was actually sweetheart, completely different.
What?
And then it became a good fellow, and then a blustering daredevil, and then around the 18th century, it changed to the word and the way we use it today. So there's a change with the word bully.
Okay. Well, I have the word awful, and awful means to be worthy of awe.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
But now it's just a meaning of very bad or unpleasant.
That's amazing. Well, the word nice sort of has, today we think it's agreeable and pleasant, but that only was kind of from the 18th century on. Before that, if someone said you were nice, it meant you were ignorant. So you won't be so happy.
Well,
Oh,
I
you're
don't want to be
nice.
called nice anymore.
No, so it changed there.
I like the word, I just like to say this word, fizzle.
Yeah.
And fizzle meant producing quiet flatulence. And it would be the SBD from
Yes,
a long time ago.
yes. Oh, I love it.
And now it means to fail at things.
Wow.
Wow.
And then artificial is another one I found out. And initially, and you can see the word art in artificial. So initially, it meant works of art if something was artificial. Around the 15th century, it changed. This change seems to be happening throughout our history. And it changed and became known as something fake or man-made. So it's no longer a work of art. It's the way we use it today.
Huh.
That's the bell, and that's the sign, and that's the place to end this episode. It's been a blast.
It has been. And, I like the idea of talking about change. And one of the reasons why we have to change is because we have to leave this recording studio for a change for someone else to come in.
Okay. Is that how you're going to end it? That's the best you got?
That? You always expect me to come up with some golden
I thought it was inevitable that you would just dazzle us with your nuggets.
Yes, you have to accept some change.
Okay, I'll accept that you're not perfect. This podcast is organic, taking shape with each episode. Building resiliency for teachers everywhere.
That sounds great.
And our website is stuntbrothers.ca.
That's stuntbrothers.ca.
We will chat again.
After the bell. Don't.